Hello, Vinci. Hello, Vinci. Excuse me, Vinci. Hello, Vinci.
Now, I invite Dr. Tipti Elizabeth ma'am for the welcome address. Tipti ma'am.
Good evening, Manala. If you want to
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am.
Is it audible? Can you hear me?
You are audible. Carry on. Speak aloud.
Okay. If you want to have more, know more, learn more, contribute more, and be more, there is no shortcuts to excellence, no substitutes for excellence. We need to learn more. The product of a PhD work is not just a book, it's a person, value-oriented, committed person. Here we are getting a chance to interact with Dr. Senthilnathan sir, a charity director of Bharatdasan University, an e-content trainer, and a mentor of Theophilus Training College. We are honored by your presence, sir. It's our great pleasure to welcome you to handle the session. Professor Dr. Jojo John, Principal in charge of Theophilus Training College, is organizing a handful of programs these days. Welcome you, sir. Professor Dr. Bindu B, the research coordinator of Theophilus Training College, is the coordinator of this program. I welcome you, teacher. Professor Dr. Maya S. is here to propose the vote of thanks. I welcome you, teacher. Dr. Ansi A.S., who is the technical coordinator of the program. I welcome you, teacher. Thank you. All the guests, this platform gets status because of you. I welcome you all to the program. I would like to welcome all the faculty members, research scholars, M.Ed and B.Ed students to this program. I wish you all a fruitful session ahead. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Dr. Jojo, can I? Yeah. Yes, Dr. Vinci, take over, please. Yeah.
Sir, I'm just Vinci. I'm just a research scholar, sir.
So remain a patient for some time. You will become a doctor.
Thank you so much, sir. So we have some formalities. We'll continue with that, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Now I invite our principal, Dr. Jojo John, sir, to say a few words on this occasion. Sir.
Dear Senthilnathan sir, now esteemed professors, research guides, faculty members from different institutions, research scholars, and students of Theophilus Training College. I am in fact thrilled to welcome all of you to this program. There are a few reasons. Dr. Senthilnathan sir happens to be our mentor and trainer. Around 10 years back, he came to Marthaplus Training College to train all of us on e-content. And Dr. Bindu and myself, we were the coordinators of the e-content training workshop, and we produced videos. He gave hands-on training. Thanks to Dr. Senthilnathan sir, all the teachers of Marthaplus Training College are producing their videos. And I turned out to be a YouTuber, and I have got around 33,000 subscribers now in my Magic Motivation channel. Now that, in fact, we are indebted to you, dear Senthilnathan sir, for having given confidence, and you have boosted us, you have empowered us, literally you have trained us to do such magnificent works. And Bharathidasan University happens to be one of the best universities in India, and HRDC of Bharathidasan University is simply exceptional. All the programs are being conducted in a meticulous fashion, and Senthilnathan sir ensures that best resource persons are there, and he takes into account feedback and everything. And actually, he is doing a great service to India, and the nation building is going on from Bharathidasan University. Thank you, Senthilnathan sir. In spite of your busy schedule, you have consented to interact with all of us, and we are looking forward to having you at Marthaplus Training College in offline mode. And big salute to you from the manager, Bursar of the college, all the faculty members, former principal Dr. K.Y. Bendik sir, all the faculty members and student fraternity, and the 174 participants who have assembled here. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to tell two more things in 2 minutes. Second thing is this. Now, this is a once in a blue moon opportunity. It's a lifetime opportunity, no doubt about that. Having a satsang with Dr. Senthilnathan sir, such an exceptional resource person. For the betterment of this program, if you can keep the video open, kindly keep the video open. That is one thing. Point number two, try your best to send the link to your friends and colleagues. That's a great philanthropic act, so that they would also come and join and reap benefits from this exceptional session that we are going to witness. And the final word is about the international seminar that we are going to have from 29th to 31st of this month. Now, around 100 papers are going to be presented. Now, it's going to be really fabulous, an international online webinar. The link to register for the international webinar will be given at the end. Kindly try to register, and if you want to present a paper, you can present one. If your paper is picked as of good quality, it will be published in our journal also. There are competition sessions for graduates, postgraduates, scholars, and college professors. Once again, big salute to you. Warm welcome, everyone. We are really happy that you are giving such a patronage to this program. So we have been conducting plenty of programs during the COVID, and we are reaching around 86 insight in-depth talks in addition to the other ones. Warm welcome, everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Bindu B for having envisioned this program in a beautiful fashion. And I would like to thank the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Deepthi, as well. A special mention to Dr. Maya and ANSI teacher also. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vinci. Thank you. Carry forward.
Thank you, Jojo sir, for the kind words and sharing the information about the international seminar. Moving on, dear participants, I'm extremely enthusiastic to proclaim about today's resource person. Sir is an extremely eminent, eloquent, and a prominent personality in the field of education. Dear participants, today we are having Dr. S. Senthilnathan sir, Director at UGC, Human Resource Development Center, and professor at Department of Educational Technology, Bharati Dasan University, Tamil Nadu. We are greatly indebted to Sir for his immense support to our institution. In 2015, when MTTC organized a 5-day workshop on e-content development, Sir had graced the occasion as a resource person. Sir has always upheld our spirit and nurtured us in many ways, be it in seminars, workshops, insight in-depth talk series, or any other platform. Sir has also been appointed as chairperson for Open Defense for the students of MTTC. Sir has done a lot of contribution in the field of education and also has a long list of achievements and accolades. We are blessed that Sir has accepted our invitation for today's National Online Colloquium. Before we start our enriching session, let us have a brief introduction about our resource person from Dr. Bindu Bima. Ma'am.
Dr. Bindu, may I request you to be as brief as possible so that I'll have more time with the participants, please. In fact, it will be better if we dispense with this resource person introduction. But however, Dr. Bindu might have prepared something. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, please.
Good evening, sir. Respected guest of honor of the day and my dear participants. Today, we are blessed to have an eminent academician with us, and I take this opportunity as an honor and privilege to introduce our guest of honor of the day, Professor Dr. S. Senthilnathan, sir. To this allied audience, I know he is very familiar to all of us as Director, UGC Human Resource Center, Department of Educational Technology, Bharati Dasan University, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. His areas of interest and deep passion for technology, coupled with e-learning, educational multimedia, e-content development, and his proficiency in English language teaching, pave the way to be an icon in the digital learning platform. I think to present his scholarly distinctiveness in this platform with will be a lot of inspiration for the upcoming teacher educators. A key international figure who is associated with UNESCO program on learning to learn English with information and communication technology, and also consultant to Commonwealth of Learning Canada for offering training in the development of open and distance learning materials for Bangladesh. His contribution to our nation is immense and spectacular. He has served as member, Board of Management Educational Multimedia Resource Center, Madura Kamaraj University, and also serving as member in expert committees of various Bharati University, Bharati Dasan University, and serving as external expert in the academic council of many colleges in Tamil Nadu and also in Kerala, and also serving as expert in the academic council of MHRD's National Resource Center, Department of Education, Central University of Kerala, Kasaragod, and external member in the advisory committee of the School of Education under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. Besides these, he has organized and facilitated a number of capacity development programs on e-content development to higher education teachers and coordinated the production of hundreds of e-modules on a variety of topics. And along with this, he has organized and facilitated a number of faculty development programs on web application for facilitated learning to higher education teachers involving hands-on training in using web and Google Cloud application for education, and has delivered many invited lectures in faculty development program orientation program, refresher courses to the teachers of higher education. His deep-rooted admiration for academics and innovation has been visible in his research field. So far, he has produced 8 PhDs and 35 MPhil dissertations and now guiding 5 PhDs and 10 MPhils. His scholarly distinctiveness is reflected in serving as editorial board member to various reputed journals, both national and international. Within almost 3 decades of teaching experience, he has published a number of research and popular articles, both nationally and internationally, figuring about 100 plus. He has 2 books to his credit and has lectured at several prestigious institutions for national and international conferences, seminars, and workshops. As a renowned expert has backed major research project from UGC on digital literacy and techno-pedagogical practices of higher education for the teachers of Tamil Nadu, funded by ICSSR, and also participated in many projects of UGC as a deputy coordinator. I would like to express our gratitude to you, sir, for being with us today. And as part of this national conference, once again, I welcome you, sir, to this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindu ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. Moving on, as usual, few instructions for the smooth functioning of the program. We assume wholehearted support for all the participants. Please do not share your screen or unmute your microphone. You may pin our resource person to view the presentation. If you have any query during the presentation, please do share in the chat box. We'll bring them up accordingly. Link for feedback cum certificate will be provided only after the deliberation. Kindly wait patiently and do share your thoughts and experience to help us to improve. Dear participants, we are recording and uploading all our programs on our official YouTube channel called MTTC Nalanjara. You can visit our channel. Please do like, subscribe, and share our channel with your friends also. Now, I request Dr. S. Senthilnathan, sir, to illuminate us on the topic research writing.
Yeah.
Sir,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you. Am I audible? Is my
Yes.
audio clear? Right. And hope my screen has been already shared.
Shared, sir. Already shared.
Okay, fine. Then, so dear Dr. Jojo John, the principal in charge of Mathya Plus Training College, and my good friends of at MTTC, a very pleasant evening to every one of you. I deem it a great pleasure as well as privilege to be with you all for the next 1 hour and 15 minutes or so to share some of my ideas on research writing in terms of the ways in which we can enhance the quality of it. And before I go ahead with the session, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Jojo John on taking over the leadership of the Mathya Plus Training College, which is a long-standing institution of great repute. And I am sure his dynamism will keep the campus very vibrant. And I'm sure the institution will benefit lots and lots of people in the years to come. So my best wishes, Dr. Jojo John, for a very stunning performance in the days ahead. Okay. So I'm very happy that Dr. Jojo John has focused on the a much needed area like research writing. And I should also thank him for the opportunity given. So without taking much of the time on the formalities, let me go ahead because already it is about 20 minutes now. So I would go ahead with the session and inputs. I should also make a point here that research writing is usually a topic for workshops. In fact, till the pre-pandemic years, in our university, Bharatidasan University, we had a center. It was called the Center for Technical and Academic Writing. So year long, almost the entire year, we used to conduct workshops of each about 5 to 6 days for the benefit of the research scholars, those who intend to publish papers on this research writing and other things. So what I'm trying to say is, it is content meant for a 1 week workshop, but we are trying to condense it, right, for a 1.5 hour session. But I know that here there is a multidisciplinary group. From the chat box, I could sense there is a person from there are people from life sciences, natural sciences. There is a right. So it's a multidisciplinary group. So I'm just trying to say a few things as examples in the due course of my presentation, keeping in mind the two broad fields, social sciences and sciences. I do have some examples to show. From every possible subject, starting from adult education to zoology A to Z. It may not be possible, but we would like to bring them under basic. But all that I would like to tell you is that whether you do research in biotechnology or whether you do research in sociology, when it comes to research writing, when it comes to research report preparation, there are certain things which are common, which we will explore, right? Okay. So someone at the end of my session may be asked to give an answer to the question, why this particular design is chosen, the bullseye, right? Okay, why this particular design has been chosen. Of course, the choice is mine, but if you can get to know the nuances of research writing, probably you will be in a position to say why this hitting the arrow, right, in the bullseye that has been chosen. There are umpteen number of designs available in Microsoft PowerPoint, but why this particular thing is shown. So when we come to discuss research writing, I just would like to introduce to all of you another word, researchees. I hope all of you see a new word here, right, in red color, researchees. And anyone who can guess what can be the meaning of researchees? Pradeep Kumar, can you unmute and speak? What can be the meaning of researchees?
The person who try to research, sir.
A person who tries to see results. Okay, fine. Let us see. Someone else, please. Can anyone? Yeah.
Research is to discover new facts.
Yeah, that's fine. That is no doubt. That is an aim of research. But my question was specific. What can be the meaning? Can you guess what can the meaning of the word researchees? Maybe for want of time, I will give you two more words. I am sure you will be in a position to guess the meaning of this word from the other two words. One is journalese. The other one is medicalese. Maybe one more I can give you, legalese. So I'm sure some of you should be in a position to guess by now what can be the rough meaning of the word researchees, because we have seen similar words, medicalese, legalese, and researchees. Okay, so journalese. So by now I think you will be understanding that a specific style of language used in the field of journalism is journalese. It's called journalese. So similarly, a specific style of language used in the field of medicine, surgery, nursing is called medicalese. In the same way, a specific style of language used in the field of law, justice, juridical sciences, that becomes legalese. I'll give you a small example here. For instance, maybe when you are given a medical file, okay, when in a hospital, maybe you're assisting somebody and the staff nurse gives you the medical file related to that particular person. It is all written in English. You know English well. But still, if you try to go through a scan report or an MRI report or a color Doppler report, it is there in English, right? But you will not be in a position to understand anything out of it. Okay? And you must understand, it is not to be understood by a patient's attender also, because that medical report is prepared by an MD person, a radiologist, who is conducting a test and he is giving the impressions, he is giving the interpretations, and these impressions and these interpretations are to be read by the particular physician who is treating that patient. Okay, so that way, that is one thing. Similarly, legalese, for that matter, when a lawyer is preparing a document, it is not intended that some lay person will read and understand. It is meant for another lawyer to interpret, read, and understand. It is meant for a judge to understand. So similarly, journalism, we cannot say that it is not to be understood by the common man. It is to be understood by the common men, no doubt. But they would use, yes, I see people like Suma Madhuri giving answers, professional jargons, right? Okay, that's right, right? So medical jargon, somebody is giving the systematic research, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm happy that you're getting to know. So journalism has its own style of writing. For instance, it will say in a major road accident, right? 5 people feared dead. Why feared dead? Because as journalist, the reporter is not authorized to declare that 5 people are dead. Okay, it is only the chief of the hospital who is treating the patients, the victims of the accident, has to speak. So he will say, in a major road accident, 5 people feared dead. In an alleged attack, they'll say, because it was an attack or an attempt to attack, it is not something a journalist has to speak. It is the police who have to confirm. So please understand, similarly, we do have an expression like researchees, that is a specific style of language to be used in research reports. Whether it is a 5-page article or a 250-page PhD thesis or a report that you are preparing for a national level project, it doesn't matter. The language that we use in a research report has got certain things to address, and they come under this broad category, the register of researchees. And though I am going to focus a little more on writing, there is no writing without reading. So I start with a quote of Francis Bacon: reading makes you a full man, and conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. See, writing has certain exactness attached with it. That is very, very important. For instance, when Dr. Jojo John called me sometime earlier, it was a casual talk. Hello, sir. How are you? How are things going? Like, then, sir, we are planning to organize a series of webinars. Someday, I want you to speak on a topic of your choice, whether it is technology or research writing. No, that is how it goes. But when same Dr. Jojo John sends an email to me, it is writing, or sends a printed letter on the institution letterhead with a green signature, with a seal. No, it will not be something like, sir, we are planning for some series of webinars sometime in the 2nd, 3rd week of June. It will not be like that. It will be on this date, from this time to this time, on this Google Meet link, we want you to come as a resource person and give a session. So it becomes exact, you see, right? Writing has certain exactness, right? That is very important, right? And I'm sure you will all really enjoy this. You know, this is what is the process. How research writing happens? Unless somebody is there to push from back, right? Unless UGC insists upon 2 publications for as part of your PhD, unless if you are a faculty member, unless there is an expectation for career advancement from 6,000 to 7,000, 7,000 to 8,000, then AGP 8,000 to associate professor, from professor to senior professor, and papers publications are important. And unless there is some compulsion, right, there is no research writing will happen. You can just do a self-analysis, some introspection. If there is papers are not linked to career advancement for faculty members, if paper publications are not linked to PhD coursework, PhD, pre-PhD submission, will anybody go for publication? And look at this fellow, right? How unhappy he is, right, while writing a research paper, right? You know why it happens. We have to see another. I see there is another funny picture, right? I hope some pictures are seen. Am I right? Can anyone unmute and tell me whether you're seeing a picture here?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, fine. I think you will see this is how you also feel. And this is how I also felt, right? While writing a research paper, the pen doesn't move at all. It takes 2 days, 3 days for us to complete 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, right? It becomes, and when the guide is saying, "Come on, bring some papers here," right? You know how it becomes very tough. You know why there is so much of anxiety involved in research report preparation, research writing, article writing, publishing, right? Why it happens? It is because the process of research writing is something like this. So when you want to bring out a thesis, right, 250 pages, okay, after 2.5 years of research, okay. So what goes into these 250 pages? There is so much of literature collection, there is so much of critical analysis, there is so much of reviewing the related literature, so much of independent thought, so much of data, so much of analysis. And from data, we analyze, we process, and we cull out some information. And based on the information, we take some decisions, and certain hypotheses are formulated, rejection, acceptance, plenty of things. Okay. I would challenge with every one of you, if you are a good researcher, having completed about 1.5 years of time, you should be having at least 10,000 to 20,000 pages of downloaded materials related to your research, your variables, your analysis. Okay, and you know the essence of all these reading, all these analysis, all these discussion has to go into this. And the distilled essence of all these things have to come out as a form of a report, right? At least when you have 250 pages for a PhD thesis, it is fine. But when it becomes a journal article, it is 5,000 words, 6,000 words, the process is still more difficult. For instance, if Joji John has given me, "Sir, you can take 5 hours of a session on research writing," I would have been little more relaxed. But he says it is 1 hour and 30 minutes only, 1 hour and 15 minutes only. Then, you know, I'll have to think, rethink, and cull out only those important points that I will be in a position to deal with in this time. So when the page limit comes minimal, it becomes tougher for the people to write. So the distilled essence of these things have to go into this. I always tell my scholars, PhD scholars, see, you can claim at a later date that I did a great work, but you know, the other candidate in my same department, it was not that great a work, but you see, it is highly commended, but for me, it is commended only, right? All these things. But it is a different ball game, you should understand. See, this is another a proverbial statement: the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So we can claim all this. "Sir, I did that much. You know, how many nights I sat for this paper, how much of work I have done, how much of traveling I have done for data collection, how much of analysis, statistics I have worked out, but ultimately the reviewer has rejected the paper." It is fine. See, I will give you a small, you can say, right, "Sir, I went to Assam, I went to Ooty to get the best quality tea dust, and I went to Calicut, right? I went to Calicut to get the best spices, and you know, I went to a sugar factory to get the best fresh sugar, and I just collected the most fresh milk from a neighboring dairy milk unit, right? Like a dairy unit, and I prepared a cup of tea, right? But now you see, the tea is not tasty, the tea is not drinkable. What to do? That is the problem, right? So all these things you have taken efforts, but ultimately the tea is not tasty. So where is that failure that comes in? That is what I think we have to understand. I keep telling people, as much as you do a higher quality research, you must also do a higher quality research writing, so that there is no mismatch between the higher quality research you did and the higher quality research report that you are bringing out as an output. Okay? Because 2.5 years, 3 years of research you do, the examiner is not with you 3 years. It's only your guide who is with you, right? Okay. So 2.5 years of work, 3 years of work, it has to go into the two cover pages of 250 pages. So ultimately, it is the thesis. Ultimately, it is the research report that is evaluated. So unless there is a one-to-one link in terms of the quality that is you are maintaining in your research and research writing, ultimately, having done a quality research, then it will be taken as by the evaluator, it will be taken by the reviewer that you have not done a good research, good quality research. So naturally, the comments come in such a way that you become little disappointed, right? Come on, this is the comment I have got from the reviewer, but you see, I have done a good work, right? That is the point that you have to keep in mind. So this is something that I don't want to go deep into, but I have to essentially start with that. So these are the basic skills of communication, as we all know, LSRW, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And I want you to look at this LSRW from a different perspective. That is mild green colored ones, listening and reading. They form a different group, and speaking and writing, they form a different group. See, listening and reading, we call them as input skills or reception skills. Now, you are listening to me. I hope, at least I hope so, right? So when you are listening, you are at the receiving end, right? You are receiving something. And whatever content you receive, right, becomes an input. And when you speak, right, it becomes an output. Some speech sounds is produced. Similarly, when you read, you are getting the inputs. You are receiving something from the writer through the printed text. And when you write, you produce your own writing, right? But you must understand, there is no output possible without input and process. Okay, if you want to make a good biryani tonight for dinner, right, you should have all the necessary inputs, and the cooking process should go, and then only the output comes. So without inputs, there cannot be any output. So who can be a good speaker? A person who listens a lot, who listens to a lot of speeches, varieties of speeches, can be a good speaker. And a person who reads a lot can be a good writer. Okay, there can never be a good writer without sufficient amount of reading and varieties of reading, right? Lots and lots of reading we should do. Then we develop our own style of writing. Okay, if you get yourself exposed to 20 different writing styles, if you are going to bring all good elements from the 20 writers you have read elaborately, then maybe you are developing a style for yourself which will have all the good qualities of these 20 writers whom you have continuously been reading. So that is how you have to look at it. So I'm not going deep into LSRW, though that can be a 1.5 hour session by itself. So I would focus a little more on production skills. Production skills, as you can see, are those two, speaking and writing. And I have purposefully put them in two diametrically opposite arrow marks. Why I have put them in two diametrically arrow marks is that they are opposite phenomena. Please understand. Yeah. So why I have put them in two diametric opposite arrow marks is because, as I told you, speaking is one thing and writing is the other. And there cannot be any overlapping here. So in other words, you cannot speak the way you write, and you cannot write the way you speak. Okay, I hope I'm making my point clear. You can never write the same way you speak a language, and you can never speak a language the same way you write. I will give a small example. So Dr. Jojo John calls me over phone and tells me, "Hello, Senthilnathan sir, how are you? Right? How is life going at Trichy? And we at Martha Phyllis are organizing a series of webinars. I would like to have you as a resource person." Okay, so this is how it goes. But when he writes a letter to me on the letterhead of the institution, how it reads like? It reads like, "Dear Professor, greetings from Martha Phyllis Training College. We are pleased to inform you that we are organizing a series of webinars, right, in the second, third week of," that's how it is, right? So how speaking goes and how writing goes. And what if it happens the other way? If Jojo John writes the way he speaks in a letterhead, and if he speaks the way in which he writes in a letter, what will happen? Imagine Jojo John is calling me and telling me, right, "Dear Professor Senthilnathan, right, greetings from Martha Phyllis Training College. We are pleased to inform you that we are organizing." I will say, "Come on, what, Jojo? What is your problem? Be normal." Okay, I'll say like that. Okay, and maybe the other way, when I receive a letter from Martha Phyllis Training College, right, and it is mentioned like, "Hello, Senthilnathan sir, how are you? Right, I hope things are going fine at Trichy." Right, and at the end there is a greening signature and a seal. Come on, what is this, right? What Martha Phyllis College is writing a letter like this? Okay, that's how I look at it. I know some of you are some of you find it a little funny. And please understand, as you find this example funny, if you write in the same ways, reviewers will look at it as funny, right? Evaluators, examiners will look at this as funny. Okay, that is one thing. It will evoke laughter for them. Come on, what a research scholar is writing. Look at the statement. That is how it is, right? That is something that you have to keep in mind. So now, I want you all to read this passage as quickly as possible, not taking much of time. In fact, I would prefer to read it myself, but it is not good manners to read from the slides. So I would like to avoid that. I request you to read as quickly as possible. So maybe I'll also read it for myself. So I'm sure you all read. It is a description of a human being by the renowned playwright. Am I right? Anyone, please? Right. Sunil, hope you read through that slide. Mr. Sunil? Or anyone, please, right? Anuja, Susan, John, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how do you react to this? What, in your opinion, is this particular thing? This whole quote. This is the way Shakespeare
wrote, sir, it's not exact in grammar. It has a freedom of poetic diction.
Yeah, fine. Right. So you have come to a higher order terminologies, like it has a poetic diction and there is no grammar, right? Fine, that's it. So we will go at a basic level. This is just a description of a human being, as you can say. When you say what a piece of work is man, man here includes women also, because it is the old style language that is being used here. So I also want all of you to read this. Maybe it is short. I will read it quickly for you for want of time. Man is a metazone, triploblastic, chordate, vertebrate, pentadactyl, mammalian, eutherian primate. This is a description of a human being. This is also a description of a human being. So this and this both are descriptions of a human being. And this is by a Shakespearean language. And this is extracted from a research article. If you understand the difference between these two, I am sure you have got the main point pertaining to the difference between these two, and you will understand that the very key point of research writing. So as already pointed out by the participant, it is poetic here. Okay, and this is no doubt, anybody will say that was poetic and this is scientific. Right, this is scientific. Okay, so please understand, when you use a word scientific, I want you to relate it to your research. Any research methodology book in the very first chapter will tell you that research is a systematic and scientific process. And my question is, after conducting a research in scientific and systematic ways, how can you write a report in unscientific and unsystematic ways? So there cannot be unscientific and unsystematic ways of writing a report after conducting a research which is scientific and systematic. So as much as research is scientific and systematic, that much is this research reporting also. That is the point you have to understand. And here you understand the most important aspect is, see, you have words like admirable, angel, God, beauty, paragon, right? Many other things. And if you closely look into it, someone has raised a hand. The technical team can address that when it comes to Some questions we can take them later. Right? Reshma, Pradeep Kumar, they've all raised hands. Kindly put in your queries if you have any, right, in the chat box, so the technical team can coordinate that at the end. Right?
Sure.
So, yeah, coming to the point, you see, there are words like angel, God, animals, and many other things. See, please understand, just analyze it from one point of view. For instance, let us say 50 people read this description. Okay, I'm asking you to do a small mental activity. 50 people read it. And can there be 50 different ways in which this is interpreted? Can anyone unmute and quickly tell me the answer? A single word, yes or no. If 50 people read it, can there be 50
Yes, sir, there will be 15 interpretations.
15
Yes, sir.
interpretations? Yes, fine.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because words like angel, God, beauty, paragon, animals, they can have different shades of meaning. See, maybe I'm an atheist. I'm not, but I'm a non-believer, right? For me, a word like God means nothing. Okay, and don't think that I am talking religion and other things, but for example, for academic purpose, I am giving this example. For a person from a Hinduism, the word God may give a mental image of a particular God. If he is a Saivite, it may be one God. It may be a Vaishnavite, it is a different God. Okay, and if a person from Christianity reads, then there is only one God, right? Okay, and a person from Islamic religion reads, a person from Buddhism reads, right? The word God will give a different mental image to different people. Okay, and that is possible. Maybe a word like angel. Okay, angel is again a word. It can give different shades of meaning to people, right? And it will give different mental images. It's possible, right? Okay, but coming to this, let us say 50,000 people read it. 50,000 people read it. Can there be only one meaning for everyone, or can there be multiple meanings? Anyone, please, quickly?
Only one, sir.
Only one. See, the word triploblastic can mean only one thing to all the people. If it is vertebrate, chordate, mammalian, right, every word will have only one meaning fixed, right? And anybody reads it will have to understand it in only one way. There cannot be multiple meanings, multiple shades of meanings. And this is the most important aspect of research writing. When you write research, right, you cannot allow guesses. A person reading the report should not be led to some guessing. Okay, this may be the meaning, this may be the meaning, this can be the meaning. No, right? If such a kind of an openness is given, then of course it is not very strong research writing. Okay, so that is the most important aspect. So now coming to the different writing styles, there are very many styles available here. We have already seen one, descriptive. This is descriptive. This is descriptive, right? So descriptive style and expository. Expository we will see elaborately. Expository style. Then there is a narrative, right? Narrative style. Now maybe somebody is asking you to write a report of this webinar, this online session. So what you will do at the beginning, there were some motivational videos which Dr. Jojo John showed. After that, the resource person joined, and there was a prayer song. There was a welcome address by somebody. There was the initial remarks by the principal Jojo John, followed by an introduction of the resource. No, you will have some sequential arrangement of the events that happen. So you will narrate. This happened first. This happened next. This happened next. At the end, this happened. Then there is something called persuasive style. Persuasive, persuading you to. In all advertisements, you will see persuasive style. What they will say, your hair has to grow black, your hair has to grow thick and long, and you should have dandruff-free hair, so you buy our shampoo, you buy our product. Your child's future should be safe, so invest in our bank. So persuading you to do something. Argumentative. In research also, we will build some arguments for and against something. In social science research, we do that. And mostly in legal court language is argumentative. Then technical writing. Technical writing is all your writing of the record notebooks, right? In your school, physics or chemistry or botany or zoology you would have written, right? All technical. So you start with an assumption, and you mention that this was the purpose of the experiment, materials taken. So you write 5 milligram of this salt was taken and 5 ml of this solution was taken. Both were mixed, and the mixture was brought to the temperature, this temperature, and the color was observed. You write like this, all technical. Okay, and then literary, you have seen, right? Somebody was mentioning it is poetic and literary, right? Okay, so this is how these are things. So with this, we will just move to expository style. Expository style is the style expected of a research report. In research report, we expect the expository writing style to be used. So what is all this expository writing? So when any writing involves itself in a couple of activities like this, it is informing, explaining, clarifying, defining, instructing, all these come under expository writing. So we write to inform, we write to explain, clarify, define, instruct, all these things. And another feature of expository writing is that the reader has some prior knowledge or some prior understanding of the topic that's being discussed. Please understand, okay? This is very important. So let us say, for example, one example we will take. Is there anyone who is doing some research in environmental science? Anyone, please? Anyone doing research in environmental science? Can anyone unmute? Okay, let us say maybe someone like Smita. What is your research area? Are you there? Can you unmute? Or Revati Sharma, are you there? I see the next name here, Revati Sharma. What is your area of research?
Sociology.
Okay, sociology. Oh, fine, that's fine. Okay. So, so now let us say Ms. Revati Sharma is writing a research article. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. He is writing a research article for an international journal of sociological research. Okay, she's writing a paper, and sometime a local newspaper, maybe the Hindu or Indian Express or Deccan Herald, approaches Revati and asks her, see, we know that you are doing a research on sociology, so some social justice day is coming. Okay, so can you write some article on social justice for our newspaper? Okay, parallelly, see, understand the situation, she is writing a paper for International Journal of Sociological Studies. Okay, the same area, social justice, and parallelly she is writing an article for Indian Express on social justice as to be published as a special supplement on the day of social justice day. Okay, and can she write the same way she writes for a newspaper to the journal? What you will do, Ms. Revati? Will you write the same way you write a journal article and a newspaper article?
No, sir, it's impossible to write the same things.
Why? Why it
Because
happens?
both have different language.
Right. You see,
The
that is exactly. That's very, very excellent point. See, the second point is this. So who is going to, the readership matters. What matters is readership. Who is going to read Indian Express? Everyone. Okay. Everyone will read. The district collector will read. The office people will read. Maybe if the paper is lying there idle in the car, when the car is parked, the driver also might read. Right? Okay. And who is going to read the International Journal of Sociological Studies? Who will read? Yes, Ms. Revati, who will read this journal?
Definitely from the experts.
Experts, researchers, scholars, students of sociology. So already these people know something about social justice. It is not something foreign to them. So if she is going to write a language that she is using for Indian Express, that will be a very low level of language for this journal. And if she is writing a language that is meant for the journal to the newspaper, it will look very heavy. The editor will call and say, come on, you have written very technically, madam. This is very advanced, and our readers are varied, right? Starting from IAS officer to anybody will read, starting from the Prime Minister to, right, the common man, everyone will read. So you make it a little more simple, right? That's what they'll say. So here, when you write a research article, please understand it is going to be there in a journal. It is going to be there in a professional publication. It is going to be there as a report in the library, which only people from your field are going to read. If you are a researcher in education, only teacher education people are going to read. So if you are a researcher in the field of botany, biological science, plant science, only plant scientists are going to read. So that is one understanding is something very important here. So here is a cake, expository writing cake. So it is 7 o'clock. You might get a little hungry, right? But this is a different type of a cake, right? If it had been a face-to-face program, I'm sure Madhya Plus College would have given you nice cakes and snacks, right? Along with a hot cup of tea, right? But this is a different cake. This is called expository writing cake. It is widely available on a website. So I have just taken a screenshot of that. And this will give you an idea as to how to build our writing at the paragraph level or a passage level. You know, when I say paragraph or passage can be a blend of a large paragraph and a small paragraph, or 2 or 3 short paragraphs. It is possible, but a passage is one segment of a text. One segment of a text. It can be a single paragraph. It can be 2 paragraphs. It can be 3 short paragraphs, but a separate section. How do you build this chunks, right? So I will say, if you start taking care of these things at the paragraph level, paragraphs will take care of the entire chapters, and chapters will take care of the entire thesis. Okay? So for any passage or any paragraph, there is something called a topical statement. Okay? Statement about what it is going to talk. That's what we call as a topical statement. So look at it as a triple layered or 4 layered cake. Okay. So maybe if you can look at it as a vanilla chocolate cake, then you see on top you have some cream. Okay. And then you have a layer of chocolate cake followed by a layer of vanilla cake. And then at the bottom you have again a layer of chocolate cake. Okay. So on the top, the topmost part is the cream that you have. Okay. So cream is the most important, tastiest thing. So that is the topical statement. So what this passage is going to talk about, that you have to say. Then you explain why you are explaining it. Then you're giving examples, illustrations, explanation, data, information, additional points, many other things. Then at the end, you close it, explaining why it is important and linking the examples and explanations with this topical statement. That is how it goes. Here again, I want you to pay attention to these layers of cakes. Okay. So imagine you have 2 layers of chocolate cake and 1 layer of vanilla cake, and you arrange them in an order, right? One after over and above one thing. Do you think it will become a cake intact? Do you see some black spaces in between? Can anyone say, unmute and say whether you can understand what that thing stands for? Anyone unmute, please?
Is that gaps?
Yeah.
Present gaps?
No. Are they gaps or gap fillers?
Gap fillers.
Yeah, because if they are gaps, it will not be a cake, no? It will not stand as a cake. If these 3 layers topped with the cream, it has to stand as a cake. In between these chocolate and vanilla layers, you have to put some, again, cream. Again, some mild application of one thin layer of a cream has to be there. That is what we call as linkers. Okay, one chocolate layer, another chocolate layer, 2 distinct chocolate flavors. So unless there is some cream to connect these 2, it doesn't form a cake. So there is one segment of a text dealing with one focal area, and after that you deal with another focal area, and then unless there is something to connect these two, it doesn't lead to a smooth flow. We technically call them as cohesive devices, cohesion, continuity, the flow. Okay, that is something to be ensured. And one of the most important failures on the part of Indian writers is the inability to maintain the continuity and the flow. I am not saying this. Very, very leading error analysis. There is something called error analysis. Error analysts say what type of errors Indian students and Indian scholars commit is one thing, that they don't maintain that flow, that continuity. That is why sometimes examiners say, see, somewhere in page 4, it is mentioned like this, but in page 11, there is a statement contradicting this. Okay, on page 36, it's a different stand the person has taken, the investigator has taken. So there is a missing link between these three ideas, like that. That is very important. So maintaining that flow, that cohesion, that continuity, that unity between the content, that is very important. And for ensuring that unity, the flow, right? There are possible transitional words and phrases available. See, you are making a statement and you are clarifying that statement. Okay, for that you can, what type of words you can make use of. So you have put two phenomena there, maybe attitude and aptitude you have mentioned, or competence and performance, two different variables, two different phenomena. Okay, and if you want to establish the relationship between these two, what words can be used? And maybe you want to link two theories, one theoretical stand and another theoretical stand. You want to link these two theoretical standpoints. Then what type of words can be used? Like that, you can make note of the screenshot because it's already being recorded. Okay, yeah, that website you can go. There are several such flashcards available. I would be happy if the technical team ensures that all mics are kept muted, because when multiple mics are on, it leads to a little bit of interference. Okay. So coming to the expositive writing characteristics, if you understand the characteristic features of expositive writing, probably you will understand things better. So with this, I think I'll have to move to the 5 patterns of research writing and then give a couple of examples. I'm, I think, left with 21 minutes. I should be in a position to complete these 2 things. So the most important aspect of research writing is its priority given to the focus on main topic. See, please understand, priority is given to focusing the main point, main topic, because here in research writing, it is not literary writing. Please understand. You must understand, research writing is different from essay writing, is different from lecture notes writing, is different from assignment writing. It is different from examination writing. Please understand. So what is the difference between assignment writing and exam writing? Assignment, your guide will read and he may bring that assignment copy and call you, and right in front of you, he may go through and tell you what is this you have written. But in examination, when you write, you don't know who is correcting and you don't know what headache that fellow is getting. Okay, you write anything and go, it is his botheration, right? Okay, like that. Okay, so but it is much more than all that, right? Because you have no space to waste here. Please understand, you have no space to waste, and you have no space to go about in other writing in many words, right? Like that. Often we say in notes, okay, it will say this is like this, in other words like this. So in research writing, there is no in other words. You say that, and a person has to understand that, because who is going to read that statement? Another scientist in the same field, another researcher in the same field. So you need not explain that by starting another sentence like in other words. It is like that. There is no need. Okay, please understand. So the focus is on the main topic, and naturally it should have details, explanations, examples, illustrations, information. All these are fine. You must have. But when you have all these multiple features, multiple phenomena getting into the content, you should make some special efforts to ensure that is a strong organization of the ideas. Ideas have to be strongly organized. Okay, organizing the idea here involves two things. One is selecting the content, and the other one is grading the content. So you identify these all things will go to introduction, and this idea this will go to conceptual framework. So you have selected in this particular segment, this is what I'm going to write. Then you should arrange the ideas from simple to complex, grading from simple to complex, from known to unknown. Okay, so that is how you should write. So grading, right, and organizing the idea. So when you say it is organizing, strongly organizing, you should do it in such a way that there is no loopholes in between. I'll give you one example a little later. For this strong organization, you will understand. Then clarity of thought and expression. So two important features of expositive writing. There has to be clarity of thought on the writer's part, and there has to be clarity of expression on the part of the writer. Okay? So without these two, I don't think a good quality writing can come out. You should have good quality thoughts, and you should have the ability, that linguistic competence, that language ability, right, to express what is there in your mind. See, this is a real problem, I'm telling you. You may think that, okay, what is there? It is my idea. When I have got the idea conceived, can't I write in a paper? It will think like that. But please understand, in at least 8 out of 10 cases, right, what they have here is not there on what the paper they write. I'll give a small example to you. When I call my research scholars, and sometimes there is a big confusion in a short paragraph they have written. See, what is this person trying to say here? What is the thing that he wants to establish here? So I call them, come on, what do you want to say here? Can you explain what you want to say in Tamil? In their mother tongue, I'm asking. So tell me in Tamil what you want to say here. So they will tell you, sir, this is what I want to say. But please understand, the sentences you have written here, do not say that. You have one idea here in your mind, but what you have written in the paper is not the same idea that you have in your mind. So there is a gap between the thought and expression. Please understand that. So this is a real problem for many writers. You don't find the right expressions, the right sentence structures, and the right vocabulary to exactly express what you want to, what you have in your mind as the idea conceived. So clarity of thought and clarity of expression is important. We also call it as unity. Unity. There has to be a unity between the thought and words. Mostly, what words people use, they are reflecting their thoughts, right? That's very simple as that, right? So when there is a unity between thought and words, then there is no mismatch, right? So it is perfect understanding. And when you have unity, right, among several things, you should understand that there has to be some mechanism to ensure the coherence flow, right? Because as a writer, sometime at the preliminary level, you may not understand the problems really understand. But when an experienced reviewer reads or an expert reads, they will be in a position to easily understand the jerks. Okay, understand that's called jerks. See, while driving a car, if you are an experienced driver, you will easily understand there is an unusual jerk happening in the car. Okay, it is not as smooth as what it has to be. Similar way, a reviewer, an examiner, an expert can easily understand, right? This writing is lacking the smooth flow. It has lots of jerks. So it starts like that, it explains that way, and then it gives an unconnected illustration. Then immediately after the illustration, there is a new standpoint expressed. So all these will give you some space jerks. Right? Then the most important thing is research is logical. So you derive conclusions from data based on some logics. Okay, and without logical thinking, without mathematical analysis, statistical analysis, no research comes out. Even in qualitative research, even in research in Tamil or English language or literature or philosophy, right? You apply some mechanisms, some scientific methods and techniques of, right, qualitative research to arrive at some conclusions logically. Okay, so this is because of this, this is because of this, though this has to be because of this. A is like this, B is like this, C is like this. So, right, we can come to a conclusion that A and B are like this, and C and B together will make like this. That is how it is. We arrive at conclusions based on some logical ordering, right? Logical ordering is very important, right? Okay, and when you have again multiple phenomena coming in, you should have a kind of a smooth transition from one idea to the other, right? Maybe you're writing a general essay on auto gear cars. Okay, so you will explain cars first in the introduction. Then you will talk about the different types of cars, manual gear cars, then auto gear cars. Then you will go on to explain, right, how auto gear operation is easy, the advantages, then disadvantages, problems involved, right, and possible solutions to that. And say at the end you will come to a kind of a judgmental statement. Yes, because of all these things, right, the future of Indian automobile industry or future of India's car utilization is going to be more auto gear, like that, you know. So when you have multiple ideas, you should have some smooth transition from one idea to another. Imagine in the very first paragraph, you write the demerits of an auto gear car. In the second paragraph, you write about cars of different types. And then the third paragraph, you talk about the mechanisms involved in auto gear. Then the fourth paragraph, you will explain the merits. And then the last fifth paragraph, you write something about how an auto gear vehicle works. Then, you know, anybody who reads it at the very first glance, come on, what is this, right? It needs to be totally revised, because the ideas have to be arranged in such a way that it looks smooth, right? So that is something that you have to keep in mind. So that is now. So let me see. Okay. So it is 7:19. Okay. So I would just expose you to the 5 different patterns of research writing. I would tell you, my dear friends, whether it is a research article running to 6 pages or 8 pages, or a 250-page PhD thesis, or a 112-page, 150-page an MPhil dissertation, or a postgraduate level project work report, or anything for that matter, broadly, you have 5 patterns of research writing involved. We will discuss these things very quickly and see one example for description alone for want of time, and then go on to some examples. Okay. So I want to also tell you one thing, that these 5 patterns sometimes will be used extensively in the same chapter. There will be something descriptive, something narrative. There will be something analytical, it might happen. And sometimes the entire unit or the entire chapter will go in a particular style. It is possible. It depends on the paper. It depends on the field. It depends on the research topic, and it depends on the variables that you are writing. Okay? And it depends on the research methodology. It depends on the method of research you follow. If it is qualitative or quantitative or mixed, right? Whatever it is, right? Okay? So description, then sequencing, that's something about narration. So then what type of keywords are used, right? All these things are mentioned here. By now, I am sure you have seen what is the content there and description and sequence. Maybe in your third chapter, while describing the research process, you will use sequencing. And while talking about your research tool, sample, right, and your conceptual framework, or explaining the variable, the key variable, you will go for descriptive style. Right? Okay? And then there is comparison. See, is there any research in the world without comparison? Every research, right, whether it is qualitative or quantitative, whether it is involving some surveys and some data, or a study without any data. Even in literature research, right, you go for comparison. This author with that author, and this theory with that theory. That's all. Though there is no research without comparison. So for comparing and contrasting, what we can do, it is given here. Then cause and effect. See, ultimately, all research is focused on this cause and effect relationship. So we do conduct a research to find out why this particular phenomenon is happening. Okay. So they do some research to explore why not this happens. See, even in medicine, even in the field of medical research, there are lots and lots of laboratories conducting researches on the why of a particular thing. Even now, research is going on about the SARS virus strain, COVID-19 virus, right? So what is happening, why it is changing its structure, what was its structure, the virulence, the power, now why it is weakening, and there is a lot of research. So this is happening, and the effect is a person dies, a person gets into coma, a person gets a lot of neurological problems, a person gets a lot of bronchial problems. So why this particular thing is happening here, right? Cause and effect, right? What it can be done. Then ultimately problem solution. So every research is a problem. Every research has a problem. So that is why we have SOP, statement of the problem. In the very first chapter, the third chapter, we write statement of the problem. So we ask anybody will ask you, right? If you say that I'm doing PhD, then they will say, what is your research problem? Okay, then they will say, so what are the problems and what are the solutions? For problem solution, right, what type of writing is followed, right? Okay, so now that we have seen the 5 patterns of expository writing, one is description, second one is sequence, third is comparison, fourth is cause and effect, and the fifth one, the final one, is problem and solution. So we will now have one example for description. And why I have chosen this example is because it can be linked with the other important areas, other key factors also, right? I just want you to read this as quickly as possible, not because I want to drink water, but because it is bad manners to read from the slide. So I don't want to read it. I request you to read this as quickly as possible. So I'm sure you could go through that. Yeah, Pradeep Kumar has raised his hand. Anything, sir?
Good evening, sir. I'm asking about 2 other continents, like Australia and Antarctica. Why they are not included in that one?
Which one, sir? Yeah, we'll discuss that. Right?
Australia and Antarctica. I think they
are...
okay.
Fine. Okay, right. Okay, I'll tell you that. Yeah. So don't worry about it, because it is just a paragraph I have taken from a school level essay only, because I know here we have a multidisciplinary group. I didn't want to choose any particular passage from chemistry or physics or sociology or something like that. So for easy understanding, I have chosen. So it is just a passage I have taken from some book. So I didn't want to add anything to that. That's all right. Okay. And yeah. So coming to the content, can anyone unmute and tell me what is this passage about? Anyone, please? Olympic Games. One answer has come. Yes, Olympic Games. Any other answer?
So let us discussion about the Olympic symbol.
Yeah, so there are 2 people saying
of Olympic Games.
Yeah, so there are 2 people saying it's Olympic. It's about Olympic symbol.
Yes, sir.
So one person says Olympic Games. 2 people say Olympic symbol. 2 is a bigger number. That's a majority. So we will go by majority. Please understand, This passage is not about Olympic Games. This passage is about the Olympic symbol. And look at the very first phrase. Look at the first 3 words of this passage. It is the Olympic symbol. And this is what we call as a topical statement. So the next is 4 or 5 lines. What are they going to explain? What are they going to throw light on? They are going to throw light on the Olympic symbol. So start with that very same word. Unnecessarily don't talk about Olympic symbol, don't talk about any other thing. Straight away go for the Olympic symbol. The Olympic symbol consists of 5 interlocking rings. Okay, so now you understand this passage is going to explain the Olympic symbol. In particular, it may not speak about the history behind the Olympic symbol. It will talk about the 5 interlocking rings. Understand? So this is what we call as a topical statement. Okay, and let us focus our attention on one important aspect, the flow of ideas and the strong organization, the very strong organization that has been maintained here. So look at the last word of the first statement. What is it? Anyone please unmute? Last word of the first statement.
Interlocking rings.
Last word is rings, right? The last phrase is interlocking rings. So the Olympic symbol consists of 5 interlocking rings. The first sentence ends with rings. And look at the first phrase of the second sentence. What is it?
The rings.
The rings. You see what I'm trying to say here? How strongly connected the sentence is. There is no space. There is no unnecessary words here. Because that the definite article is unavoidable. So it is put there. So the first sentence ends with rings. The second sentence starts with the rings. The rings represent the 5 continents. Okay, Africa, Asia, North. It can be anything. Right? And then from which athletes come to compete in the game. So why 5 continents, 5 rings? Because this is the only game where you will find a participant from every continent. Okay, so it is like that. And again, look at the first phrase of the third sentence. What it starts with? What is it?
The rings.
The rings. Please understand. This is what I say. This may look very elementary. This is for a research scholar like you, for a research guide like you. Come on, what is this? This is a school level essay. But look at the strong organization of ideas. First sentence ends with rings. Second sentence starts with the rings. And the third sentence also starts with the rings. The rings are colored black, blue, green, red, and yellow. Then, now any reader will have a question in the mind. Okay, 5 rings, 5 continents, fine. Then why they are called black, blue, green, red? Why they are colored like that? Okay. Then the answer comes, explanation comes, illustration comes. At least one of these colors is found in the flag of every country, sending athletes to compete in the Olympic Games. So these colors, one of these colors is there in the flag of every country in the world. Right? Okay. So so that is why, that is the reason behind it. And this again, I'm telling you, may look a little preliminary, look a little elementary, but I want you to do a small exercise. Maybe take a screenshot and write it in a sheet of paper. And back home, right, or already you're at home, I know, it's an online session. So you try to rewrite this passage, eliminating some lines, some sentences from this without affecting the whole meaning. I think you will find it very, very difficult. At the maximum, what can be removed is that Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, and South America. Sir, why I should explain that? When I say 5 continents, everybody knows. Okay. So why I should say mention the 5 continents, right? Okay. So like that, you try, right? So this is the level of strong organization expected in research writing. Okay. So any word, any line, any phrase which is not connected to the main idea, the focal theme of that particular passage is redundant, and it is wrong to have such statements. It leads to ineffective writing. Even a single sentence with 4 or 5 words, totally unconnected to the main focal theme, then it cannot be there. It cannot be there, and there cannot be any sentence in your writing which does not serve any purpose towards the development of the main idea. Every small sentence you put there, every phrase you put there should directly be connected with the main focal theme, and it should contribute to the development of the main idea into the several dimensions. If there is any sentence which is not connected or which is not contributing to the development of idea, that is redundant, that is unnecessary, and such unnecessary and redundant phrases, redundant sentences, unnecessary sentences will lead to poor quality writing, and it will become an example of bad style writing. Please understand. There is something called style of writing, right? You have to mention that. You have to maintain that thing. So it is about 7:32 now by my system's clock, right? 7:32. Jojo John, what shall we do?
Excuse me, sir. There is a message from Jojo sir in the chat box. Sir, you can please continue till 7:45. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine. Oh.
We can carry forward, sir. If possible, if time permits for you, please carry forward. Please, sir.
Yeah. Okay, I would say just take another 10 minutes or 12 minutes. So quickly rush through this. So coming to language of research, so we say that it's a language apart. It's a different register. Register here refers to the technical style of writing that is used in a particular field. So every field has a register. The field of civil engineering has a register. The field of mechanical engineering has a register. The field of electronic engineering has a register, though all of them are engineering. So well within the engineering subjects, you have different registers. So similarly, the register of psychology, register of education, the register of law, register of medicine, management, commerce, everything is different. And there are 2-3 words which I have mentioned here, very important. The language of research writing is goal directed. What for you write? It is goal directed means what for you write. That is very important. So if you are writing for explaining, it should only explain. If you are writing for illustrating, it should only illustrate. If you are writing for clarifying, it should clarify. So it is goal directed. And it is business-like. Okay, business-like, it should only stick on to what purpose it is meant for. It should not go beyond that. Okay, so whatever purpose that for you, stop with that. Unnecessary words, unnecessary roundabout ways of saying certain things is to be totally avoided. And unornamented. Okay, why there is no scope for any ornamentation. There is no scope for any ornamentation. If all your ornamentation, all your adjectives, adverbial phrases, everything stops with your acknowledgement pages. Okay, in your thesis you will have acknowledgement pages. There you will have all these ornamental words, right? But in your inside the content inside the chapters, you don't have any ornamentation here. Okay, because there is no space for any ornamental phrases, vocabulary, and other things, right? Okay. 1 second, please. Then, as I was already mentioning, right, it is targeted to a specific group. We know for whom we are writing, right? It is not newspaper writing. It is not writing an article for a newspaper where we do not know to whom we are writing, right? But when you are a scientist in the field of chemistry, you know that you are writing to chemists. When you are a physics person, you know that you are writing only to physics people, right? Okay, and so in that level, there has to be a total avoidance of ambiguity, vagueness. You can never have anything left to the guessing of people. There cannot be anything ambiguous. There cannot be anything vague, which people then take it for granted, or people interpret, misinterpret, multiple interpretations. Nothing should be there. So you call a spade a spade. That is a proverbial statement in writing. So you call a spade a spade. Call it, make it clear. And clarity with the precision of scientific equations. See, in scientific equations, a plus symbol has one meaning, and it is a permanent meaning, and it's a fixed meaning. A minus symbol has a fixed meaning, permanent meaning. And if plus or minus both are put, it has a different meaning. Okay. So even if you just tilt plus symbol, if you just tilt it a little and make it an into symbol, multiplication symbol, it will do a different purpose. So please understand that is the level of precision that we have to understand. We have to ensure that. That's very important. And the writing has to be clear and it has to be very candid because it is research writing and research is evidence based, and based on evidences we write, either data or literature. Based on that you write. So this is like this, this is like this, this is like this. So I come to a conclusion this way. The investigator comes to a conclusion that way. Okay. And please understand, research writing, it is never writing, it is always rewriting. This is the real problem between guides and scholars. Okay. What is the problem that I experience with my research scholars? They bring something to me and I tell them, come on, revise. Okay. And they revise and bring it to me. I go through, I am not satisfied. I say, revise revise this section, and this section. Maintain uniformity. Check for continuity. I write, come on. Second time that fellow goes and says, come on, what is this fellow? He asked me to revise once. I have done it. But again, he is asking me revise and improve. What is he expecting? He gets irritated, right? He gets angry. But please understand, the research writing is always rewriting. The higher the number of rewriting you do, better is the output. Please understand. Okay. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And I will give you a small example. See, you want to send a mail to somebody. There is a mail from one of your friends discussing some problem, and you want to reply to that. So you are preparing the reply. In the inbox, just put it in draft. Okay, that it is an email. Put it in draft mode. Log out. Maybe have a cup of coffee, some snacks. Come back, and you open that draft. You will feel like modifying it. You will feel like adding something to it, deleting something to it. Right? Even personal communication, it happens. Rewriting. But this is more than official communication. This is research communication, and this is technical communication. And you have to be prepared for rewriting. And the higher the amount of rewriting you do, better is the output. And in the rewriting process, you will critically analyze, you will revise, and you will improve, right? All these things are very important. So before putting your pen on the paper, you will put a lot of questions. See, I am going to write this word. And are there any alternatives for this word? Instead of this word, can I think of a better word? Can I think of other options? Then you will think of 3 words. And out of these 3, this is which word fits into that particular context, then you write. Okay. So that is what is simple. Right? I think even this afternoon, I was talking to our university vice chancellor and other officials. Right? At that context, there was some reference. One person was saying it is very interesting, right? And the other person was saying it is not interesting. In better word will be exciting. Okay, so there's something about a particular event we are talking. Okay, so whether interesting is the appropriate word or exciting is the appropriate word, right? You'll have to think that way and then write, so that if you take care of the words, right? Then the words take care of sentences, and sentences take care of paragraphs. Paragraphs take care of the chapters, and chapters take care of the quality of the entire thesis, right? So that is something that I want you to do. And here, the role of the peer group, fellow research scholars, fellow teachers, fellow research supervisors, they will really help you. And if required and if available, you can also get experts come in. Otherwise, anyway, reviewer is an expert. You are submitting a paper to a journal, and the journal manager is going to send it to a reviewer, and the reviewer will give the comments looking at it from the right point of view of an expert. Okay. So then what will help you here is reviews of similar research reports. So the more research reports you see and read, the more exposure you will get to the styles of writing. And you can evolve a style for yourself when you get exposed to different styles. And please understand, it is not that you complete all your research activity and then you start writing. It has to be a continuous process, and it has to be going, right, continuously. And please understand, research writing, the key point is clarity, 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 which is the most important. It should be as clear as possible. And the language that you write is always direct. There is no indirect ways. There is no roundabout ways. There is no beating about the bush, right? Circumlocution, right? Call a spade a spade. Hit the nail on its head. Make it simple, straight. Okay. There is no need to be circumlocucious. Then, you know, simple. It has to be simple. Simple to the what level? Okay, sir, you are asking us to write in simple language. So let me write something like this. 4th standard or 5th standard, right? Essay writing, right? Maybe in our composition notebooks, we had something like this. Cow is a domestic animal. It eats grass. It gives milk. Can we go to that level of simplicity, right? Okay, there. No. To the level of your level, right? MPhil or PG or PhD, the simplicity has to be maintained. And I've already used several times the word coherent in the previous slides. This is again I'm reviewing because it has to be the flow, the coherence has to be there, the continuity has to be ensured. That's very important. And there is a principle, right, called for writing research, it's called KISS principle, right? That's called keep it short and simple. Let your writing be short and simple. Okay, that's very simple. You don't think that writing a sentence long enough for half a page is something higher order writing. It is not that. A good communication is something that everyone finds it easy to understand. Okay, so make it keep your sentences short and simple to that level, right? To the level of a PhD, right? That's very important. And you have to be simple and brief, but not at the cost of reason or the complexity of the researchers. Because see, it is PhD level research, so that that complexity of the content has to be maintained, and the simplicity and brevity has to be maintained to that level. And you must understand the standards of accuracy expected in the research reports today, whether it is a 6-page paper submitted to an international journal, double peer-reviewed journal, masked review journal, or a PhD thesis, the expectations on the accuracy levels are higher. Please understand. Because today you have the convenience of MS Word, you have the convenience of Grammarly, right? They do all the work for you, right? Some 25 years back, right? A person who was doing, who was preparing PhD thesis on manual typewriter, okay? Those days, the accuracy levels expectation was less because they know that a person is sitting and doing the typing, okay? So if there is one mistake with a carbon copy, they will write. If there is one mistake, they will put some whitener and correct it, okay? And after that, again, if there is a problem, they cannot correct it, right? That was the condition. But now it is all machine done. So when you do the word processor itself will put a comma to you and put a semicolon. It will say you, come on, here there is a need of a semicolon where you are putting colon. It will tell you. So when that is the type of help that technology is giving, then expectation for better accuracy levels is always there. And the research writing, the tone has to be impersonal, and personal pronouns are avoided, and adjectives and fancy phrases are avoided, right? So this is something that is general do's and don'ts. And better to have third persons like it was found, it was observed. Though you are the person observing, you cannot write like I observed this. You write like it was observed. 5 milligram of this salt was taken, 5 ml of this solution was taken. Both were mixed at 48-degree temperature. Who is doing all this? Only I am doing, you are doing. But we cannot write, I took 5 milligram of this salt. I mixed it with 5 ml of solution. You cannot say. You will say 5 milligram of was taken, 5 ml of solution was taken. Both were mixed to this one, because that is the expectation of using an impersonal passive and a third person, and use of dummy subject like it was found, right? Okay, like instead of writing I found it, you say it was found. Okay, and the tenses have to be appropriately used, and the language has to be gender to avoid gender bias. You cannot have gender biased language here. See, I'll give a small example, one small example for this particular thing. Just very recently I came across this, right? That is some item from commerce, some customer behavior study. So it reads something like this. The customer, I quote, right? Kindly get it. The customer was given the freedom. I'll read it. I don't exactly recall. The customer was given the freedom to make his choice. Okay, this came to me for some discussion. And then I asked that student, he said, see, you are using in the subject line the customer. And the customer is a common noun. Customer can be a male, customer can be a female. Okay. In that context, when the second part of the sentence you write, the customer was given the freedom to make his choice. His is a personal pronoun linked only with the male. So what is the way you can avoid this? See, this is a problem. This is an error from the point of view of research writing. Okay. So what they will, then can I say like this, sir? The customer was given the freedom to make his/her choice. Can we make it that way? Again, people will question. So why his first, her next? So you are putting women at the second level. So you are gender biased again. Am I right? Okay. So there is gender bias, right? In this also, right? So then what to do? Can we make it as the customer was given the freedom to make her/his choice? Okay. Yes. To avoid a problem, it is possible. Or I say, okay, make it plural. Yeah. You make it as the customers were given the freedom to make their choices. So you avoid the problem of his, her. Okay. So like that. So sentence structure has to be perfect. Spelling, capitalization, abbreviation, everything. I went through a thesis very recently for conducting a Viva, and the examiner, the foreign examiner, has observed that this particular candidate has not understood the idea of capitalization, right? Irrationally, capitalization has been used. Somewhere in the middle of the sentence, a word starts with capital letter. Where there is a capital letter required, it doesn't have, it is there in small letters. So this has to be changed like that. So to that level, evaluators look into it. Reviewers look into it. That is, you have to keep in mind. So I would do one thing. I would skip these examples. So, but I think I leave these slides with Joji John and his team. You will get to know. See, in writing, like some personal mannerisms. Everyone has some personal mannerisms in writing also. See, if you go through Dr. Bindu's writing 5 times, 6 times, 7th time, when Bindu gives you a paper, even without her name mentioned, you can locate, oh, this looks like Bindu's writing, because the style of writing that she follows. Similarly, negative mannerisms are there. These things have to be avoided while writing research. One is, don't bother about the technical terms like tautology, verbosity, and other things. So, for instance, one small example I've got, I never make predictions about the future. What is wrong with this? It looks like perfect sentence. It looks like a meaningful sentence. But critically, if you evaluate, it is enough if you say, I never make predictions. Prediction is about what will happen in the future only. Diction is saying prediction, right? You are saying something in advance that this will happen next week. So it is about the future event. So why do you say I never make predictions about the future? Because you cannot make a prediction about the past. You can make a prediction only about what will happen in the future. So it is enough, I never make predictions, right? And ISBN number. How many conference brochures are there with this, right? Select papers will be published as an edited volume with ISBN number. So that final number is the ISBN, right? That number, that final N is for number. Then why again you should have it? I'm just giving a small example. And there is another problem that is negative to writing is verbosity. Too many words, roundabout way explaining a particular thing, right? So, for instance, there is a paragraph, a full paragraph. I request you to do that. Maybe take a screenshot, sit with an English dictionary, a good dictionary, and identify the word meanings for every word here. And then try to put all the ideas together what you will finally get is the entire paragraph can be condensed, can be minimized to a sentence like this. The bride looked at the groom. I request you to read, see, do an exercise. Try to do that exercise. Then you will find it interesting, right? Okay. Then the jargons. Every field has a jargon. Medical field jargons, police jargon, right? And other things, right? So these things you can look at it, right? Colloquialisms. Colloquialisms are free expressions like, long time, right? No see, hold on, right? WhatsApp, right? These are some of the things that we don't prefer to use in writing, okay? Right? This is mostly used in spoken communication. We don't use. Then contractions, we are, I have, para. No, you can never use a word like lab or para in a research article. It is always paragraph and laboratory. 1,000 times you will say the word para here, lab here. I went to the lab, I did the research in this lab, that lab. But when it comes to research, it is laboratory only. So slang words like cool, mega, supersize, these things have to be avoided. Then, overused words and phrases like as a matter of fact. To be frank with you, right? Can you start a sentence like to tell you the truth, right? Can you start a sentence like to tell you a lie, like that? Can we? We cannot start. So actually, they are all thought fillers, right? Okay, we don't use them in writing, and I do have one or two examples. For want of time, I'm skipping. Maybe only one thing I would explain to you. See, there is can anyone unmute and tell me what is that first one? To find out the significance of difference between the mean intelligence scores of the male and female participants.
Objectives.
It's an objective. Excellent. It's an objective. Maybe at the end of the session, Jojo John is conducting an online intelligence test for all of you. And then there is a comparison between the mean intelligence scores of male participants and female participants. So this is an objective. And is there anything wrong in this particular objective? Can anyone quickly unmute, please? Is there anything wrong? Grammar, spelling, vocabulary?
Significance of, there is no need. Significant difference is enough, I think, sir.
Oh my God, right? Okay. So now I have got, yeah, okay. Now whoever has said that, instead of significance difference, it should be significant difference has to be there. See, that will lead to another research error. Please understand. If you say to find out the significant difference, that means you have already concluded that there will be a significant difference. That is wrong.
No need of significance or difference to find out the mean intelligence score.
Yeah, as a researcher, you should not do that, right? You should go with an open mind that there is no significant difference. That is the null hypothesis you formulate, okay? And that's how you go. But another, I'll tell you very simply, you will easily understand. For instance, imagine if you are going to rewrite like this to find out the significance of difference. Now, which one is better? To find out the significance of difference, if any, between the mean intelligence scores of the male and female participants. Anyone, please? Which one is right, this or that? Anyone, please?
The first one.
I think both are wrong.
Okay, then anybody else? Yeah. I'll tell you, right? Okay, why this one is right. Yeah, yes, anyone who has unmuted, please. Yeah. Someone has unmuted, please speak. See,
significant difference between the mean intelligence scores of the male and the female participants' sexes.
okay, you see, please understand, this has something to do with the research part here. See, you are conducting a t-test, okay, and you are going to test a null hypothesis, and the objective is to find out the significance of difference. Why, if any, has to be there? Because if any is not there, again you are going with a preconceived notion that there will be difference. As a researcher, you cannot go with that. If at all there is any difference, whether the difference is significant statistically, that is what you are going to do. See, even identical twins will have some difference in their intelligence scores. So when you have 40 male and 40 female, you will naturally have some difference in the mean score. But your objective is not that. Your objective is only to find out whether the difference is statistically significant. Okay. So you say, if this objective has to be written like this, to find out the significance of difference, if any, if there is any difference, whether that difference is statistically significant or not. So that is how it has to be, right? Again, then I'm just skipping a couple of things here. Maybe one more thing we will take it up. See the last one in this slide, you see 58 items were pooled initially for the rating scale. You are describing a research tool. How did you develop a rating scale and how did you validate it? So you say 58 items were pooled initially for the rating scale, and the 58 items were given to the experts, and some of them were dropped, some of them were added, some of them were reworded, some of them were modified. Then the second version came with 50, and the 50 item scale was taken for pilot study. Then item analysis was conducted. Like that you are going to explain. And can anyone tell me, is there anything wrong in that statement, the last sentence? 58 items were pooled initially for the rating scale. Vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, anything wrong? Quickly, please. Anything wrong?
Pooled is not used.
I'm not getting a point, no? Sorry.
The word pooled is not used here.
Is not to be used.
Yes.
But I think pooling the items is okay because it's a research language only. Because in the first level, we pool the items. Then only we reject, we accept, do an item analysis. That is part is fine. See, every word is okay. The sentence structure is fine. The grammar, everything is fine. But there is a stylistic error. See, in the research style of language, in the research in the language of research writing, you cannot start a sentence with a number, with a numeral. Okay, this numeral 58, that cannot be there in the first part of a sentence. Then what to do, sir? Now, either write in words, FIFTYIIEIGHT. Either you make it that way, or if you are interested in keeping the number, you should write it as many as. Okay, as many as 58 items were pooled initially for the rating scale, right? Okay, so this is what is an appropriate sentence. As many as 58 items are pooled initially for the rating scale. So this is some examples, and some examples I have got, right? I think you can easily see that and understand what is the wrong there in every particular sentence, right? Okay, so I just have got one or two. But each one is a different example for a different purpose. And this one, particularly to avoid putting too much of faith in the system. See, for instance, it's a good quote by John W. Best, a good social science researcher. But here, I have put a mark here. The original word is framework as a single word. But here, the word is split into frame and work, two words. Then, it is not underlining. MS Word is not underlining at red or green. It will not underline because it will take that there are two words. So you should pay your attention to all these things. You should not blindly believe what your word says. Sometimes what MS Word underlines in green ink, you can retain. You need not change. Sometimes such things MS Word will not identify. You have to pay your attention to that. Right? Okay. So some examples I have got. I will skip this for want of time. Only one thing we will discuss this, that editing part and revision part, right? And finally close this, right? See here, there is a paragraph, a passage here. This paper provides a review of the basic tenets of cancer biology study design using, for want of time I'm reading, using as examples studies that illustrate the methodologic challenges or that demonstrate successful solutions to the difficulties inherent in biological research. Okay. How do we edit it? How do we revise it to make it better, more appropriate for a research journal? Okay. See here, what I have done, instead of writing this paper provides a review, why not you say it as this paper reviews? Okay. Why you should say it provides a review? You say this paper reviews. Okay. And then you see basic tenets are removed. This paper reviews cancer biology study design using examples. See here, what do you say? Example studies that illustrate. What for we are giving example? Only for illustrating. Then why do you say examples that illustrate? Okay, you understand the point, right? So using examples, right, for specific challenges and solutions, right? So it reads something like this, right? This paper reviews cancer biology study design using examples for specific challenges and solutions. I request you, kindly take a screenshot, read the red colored one and read that blue colored one and see whether there is any mismatch between these two in terms of the meaning it conveys. If there is anything missing in the red one, right, which is there in the blue one, then of course it has to be revised, right? So, but I think largely you can do that, right? Okay. So a 6 line passage becomes a 2.5 line passage. Okay. And it is more, what to say, more appropriate and more loaded to the level of a research article. Right? Okay. So I just would like to close here. Some of the web resources that are available for you to enhance your writing, enhance your writing styles. All these things you can take a screenshot and explore. They will really help you. In fact, I don't think I have, in fact, it is a condensed version of a full session, but even well within that, I think for want of time, I could not elaborately touch upon the examples, but the examples are always there. You can, right, have access to them, and you can feel free to be in touch, right, on the mail if you have any clarifications, questions, or anything that you would like to. So I would like to take this opportunity to profusely thank my good friend, Dr. Jojo John, and other good friends at Martha Phyllis, right, for giving me this opportunity of what to say. See, when I present on research writing, I do revisit research writing. So it strengthens my own research writing. So it was an opportunity to revisit some of the basic things. So thank you, Dr. Jojo John, and thank you, my dear friends. So the scholars, students, and research supervisors, I don't know how beneficial it would have been for you to listen to me. However, if you feel that it has been beneficial, then of course, the very purpose of inviting me by the Martha Phyllis people will be served, right? So I just close here, right, thanking all of you, right? So the coordinator can take on if there is any questions, clarifications. No doubt I can take a few more minutes also, right? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. It was very useful. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Jojo, sir.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, actually, you have already addressed that point in that explanation session, but I just want to raise one query being asked by Dr. Anila Chako.
Okay.
She wants to know the tenses to be used in different chapters.
Ah, right. Yeah, that is a typical question that we always get. Sir, this is chapter 1. It is about the conceptual framework. So can I go ahead with simple present tense? Then this is chapter 2. This is all about the past research that has already happened. So can I simply write in simple past tense? Please understand that you cannot have any such fixed notion, right? That this chapter will have this tense like that. Sometimes we have to interchangeably use, right? Okay. So we cannot, only the context will decide. Only the context will decide whether it is simple present or past right, or present perfect tense. For instance, see, you are writing a rationale for the study. You are writing you are establishing the need and significance of the study. So you have to write the present perfect tense, right? So Indian studies have focused on these have focused. That is in present perfect tense. So studies conducted in India during the late 90s have focused on this. 2000 to 2010, it has focused on this. Then it has focused on this. So there is immediately you will switch over to simple present. So there is a dearth of literature. There is a shortage of literature in this particular area. So in this context, the investigator has taken up this study. So present perfect, present tense, present perfect. You will keep changing, right? So we cannot have a kind of a fixed idea that for this chapter, this tense. It is not that way. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Then one more. It's not a query, just asking. Mr. Pradeep Kumar sir is asking to have a workshop on this research writing topic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, will. Right, okay. That's fine.
Definitely, sir. It will be our privilege to hear you again, sir.
Fine. Thank you very much. Right, but you see, I have only presented to you the most essential things. In fact, for every slide, at least another 8 to 10 minutes we can explain with examples and illustrations. But for want of time, I did not go deep into it. Okay. Yeah, fine. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Fine.
So I think there are no more queries.
Yeah,
so
please,
we'll move on with the next segment of the program to express our sincere gratitude to each one present here and making this a wonderful event. Now I invite Dr. Maya ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks. Maya ma'am, are you there? Yes, ma'am is here.
Ma'am, kindly unmute, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Research helps us to understand the world around and allows us to ask questions and find answers to them. It also helps us to understand the relationship between things and to perceive the world in an innovative way. Dear friends, we have come to an end of this 1.5 hour program on research writing, and now is the time to propose our vote of thanks and gratitude to everyone who have gathered in this program. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the resource Professor Senthilnathan sir for taking the time out of his very busy schedule to share his knowledge and expertise with us today. So your presentation on research publication, research language, different writing styles, then 5 patterns of research writing, and everything with illustrations were really informative, engaging, and thought-provoking. Thank you, sir. And we are also grateful for your willingness to clarify a few questions of the talk. Your answers were clear and helpful. Thank you once again, sir, for the very useful presentation. And now, thank you, Dr. Juju John, Principal in charge of Martha Training College, for the initiative, enthusiasm, and eagerness to organize a program like this. Thank you, sir. Dr. Bindu B is the coordinator of Research Center, who has organized this National Colloquium on Research Writing. Thank you, Dr. Bindu, for the efforts taken to organize the same. Now, I would like to extend our gratitude to all faculty members, research scholars of Martha Training College, and professors from different colleges, scholars and students have gathered in this online platform this evening. Please connect with Martha Training College again. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya ma'am. Sunsets are proof that endings can be beautiful. With this quote, now I wind up the program with National Anthem. Kindly stay tuned to it. Thanks again for joining with us.
Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Kalabanga, Vindhya, Himachal, Yamuna.